box once again. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. As you can see, this video is titled President Biden abandons unity. Now remember, President Biden was supposedly elected to bring the country back together. The entire spiel was that Trump had divided the nation and we needed someone to bring back unity. But is Biden the man? I'm going to play a clip for you guys. Play it a few times as folks begin filtering in. I want to get your opinion on this, and the box will be open right away. So here we go.
You're either on the side of a mob or the side of the police. You can't be pro-law enforcement and pro-insurrection. You can't be a party of law and order and call the people who attacked the police on January 6th patriots. You can't do it. What are we teaching our children?
So how do you feel about that? That's President Biden. The man has dementia. The man cannot string together two sentences. Sounds like that was more than two to me. What do you think about that? Regardless of how you feel about Trump, how you feel about Biden, can you indeed be a patriot with what he suggested? I want to let you guys know that. Going right to the box. Loretta, Lynn, Hodges. Never tap your screen, folks. Get your boy to 5,000 likes. You know what I'm doing here. You know what we talking about. Loretta, good afternoon. Loretta, can you hear me? You are on mute, Loretta. Just want to let you know, check your device. You're on mute. Joe Biden is my man, says Bia093. I'm giving Loretta a few seconds to get her device together. Loretta, can you hear me?
I am. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, ma'am. So what do you think about what Biden is saying? Huh?
Okay, new here, never been on live before. So what do I say?
Yeah. Well, did you hear the recording of President Biden?
No. Can you give me a brief breakdown?
I can give you the recording. It's only about 10 seconds long. I want you to listen to this.
Okay.
You're either on the side of a mob or the side of the police. You can't be pro-law enforcement and pro-insurrection. You can't be a party of law and order and call the people who attacked the police on January 6th patriots.
What do you think about that? Do you think he's off his rock, or what do you think about a statement like that from our president?
From our president, I would say that is completely insane.
Okay. What about that statement you find to be insane? Do you disagree with what he said? I mean, what do you find insane about that?
Okay, so if we're talking about this January 6th insurrection, is that what he called it?
Yeah, insurrection.
Okay, so if we're talking about an insurrection, as he called it, I don't really know what to say about that. Is everybody has fans. Everybody has a fan. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to do what they want to do to get proven what they want to do.
Okay. What about the idea, what he's saying is you can't do what they did to the Capitol Police and also be called patriots at the same time?
Okay, so Capitol Police, that one Capitol Police, did they not let him in?
Wait, I don't get what you said. Did they not let who in?
I mean, the people that were coming in, did they not let them in?
You're asking if everyone in the Capitol building on January 6th was let in by the Capitol Police?
Were they not?
No, they were not. There were some who were let in, but there's clearly video of folks breaking windows and busting their way in. Everyone in the building on January 6th were not let in by Capitol Police. Did you not see the video of people busting windows and things like that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I did, but I didn't understand the reputation of it.
Okay, well, if you're watching a video of somebody busting a window to get into a place, how do you view that?
How do I view them busted in to get into on January 6th of 2020? 21?
Yes. When you seen them busting the windows and climbing in through windows, when obviously doors are meant to enter structures, but when they're breaking windows and climbing in the windows, what did you think of what you were watching?
I thought about this is really a tragic day upon our nation.
Okay. But you didn't think they were being let in at that point, did you?
No, I didn't think they would be let in. Why would anyone be let into the nation?
Okay. Okay. All right. Fair enough. So, in other words, you think that what Biden
Why
said
would
was
anyone
insane.
be let in to a capital structure that was supposed to be protected at all costs?
Okay. What about the fact that they were potentially outnumbered and could not repel everyone?
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay, I believe this is our first time talking. Listen, I want to move the program on, but anytime you see me on, you're welcome to come back. I think she went right to mute. All right, looking in the comments here. Have a real Trump support. I see your comment there, Petunia. Someone says, wow, she's crazy. Listen, I let folks speak. Obviously, I make it clear my preferred are MAGA, but I entertain liberals all day. But I want to hear what you guys think of what President Biden said. Remember, president of unity. Obviously, this statement does not sound very unifying. But do you believe it's true? You think they have any validity? I believe I have another new caller in the box. Let's make it happen. Yeah! Appreciate the hat mustache. It's always a pleasure. Okay, I don't get here. What does that say? Jahim, or I can't pronounce your name. Good afternoon.
Hey, Laney, come on, Laney. Come on, here. How are you doing?
You're very muffled. You're very muffled.
How are you
Try
doing?
it again. I'm doing great. What do you think about Biden's statement?
Well,
you're going in and out for a second.
Am I better now?
Yes.
I probably just passed through a weird Wi-Fi zone. My house is like 80 feet long.
All right.
I think the statement is a little bit disingenuous, and let me tell you why.
Sure.
So, my first question is, who is Ray Epps? That's number one. My second, now that's a question. The next is, I'll follow it by a statement. And the statement is, nobody was there for the police. So his statement about the police interaction is one thing. It's a byproduct of the whole situation. But I think that there is an inflation of what happened. And I understand why there's an inflation. But as a young man, as a very, very young man, back in the late 70s, early 80s, my dad had on his shelf, my dad was a PhD theologian. So was his father and 6 of my uncles, all doctorate theologians. And they all had very extensive libraries. And my dad's library down on the bottom was a lot of Germanic history, and then the history of the United States from about 1880 onwards.
I gotta move you on. State the point. I want to respond to you, but I gotta move you on along a little bit.
If you read about the Reichstag event, the Reichstag event was a manufactured event so that the Nazi Germany could seize power.
Okay.
And they laid blame at the communists over the Reichstag event. And that goes back
So are you suggesting that what happened on January? Okay, are you suggesting that what happened on January 6th to some degree or another was staged?
I believe some of it was manufactured. I think the DOJ needs to answer who is Ray Epps, and their refusal to do so in front of Congress when initially he was a person of interest, and initially they said they wanted to arrest him, and then they refused to answer a number of senators as to who he was, what he had done, why he was there, regarding film footage that was taken. You know, the Washington Post did a very, very thorough examination of video accounts.
Well, we have to ask this question. Wait, we have to ask this question. With so many MAGA now facing prosecution for what happened on January 6th, why is it that none of them, and some of them are getting some pretty good prison sentences. Why isn't none of them suggesting that what I did was staged or it was entrapment? Like in the case of Governor Whitmer out in Michigan, those folks are alleging that they were entrapped. Why is no one from January 6th suggesting what you are? Ray Epps told us to do it. Why aren't the people who actually have something to gain from bringing up Ray Epps and not bringing them up?
Here's my response to that. So the vast majority of people convicted are convicted under trespass, which is a misdemeanor. There are some felonies.
No, wait. What about the ones who were convicted for beating up the police? What about the ones who were convicted for actually beating up the police? Why aren't they bringing up Ray Epps?
What about the ones who were convicted for beating the police during the riots of 2020? I mean, you have low-hanging fruit. You have low-hanging fruit everywhere. My point is, you have low-hanging fruit everywhere. You have people that will resort to the lowest bottom barrel. They have smooth brains. They're not intelligent thinkers. You have people on the left or the right, doesn't matter which side, that will resort to violence.
But that's not what I'm asking you, though. I'm telling you that you got dozens of people facing prosecution, and not a single one of them is using Ray Epps as a defense. Not one. Are they all low-hanging fruit?
Well, first of all, I don't know that that's true or not true, because I haven't been a party to the trials. I haven't been a party to the prosecution's evidence, and I haven't been a party to the defense. I will certainly concede that people are being convicted. Absolutely. And I'm not going to say unrightly so. I'm not even going to try to defend what they did. However, I believe that there is an exaggeration here. And I believe through the discourse and exaggeration, I believe that you do have parties, elements of the FBI or security services that encourage people to do things and were given the exception and not prosecuted.
Fair. Do you, after seeing Trump speak, first you had Steve Bannon, you got Rudolph Giuliani saying, let's have trial by combat. When you say folks encourage people to do things, do you not see any encouragement to do bad things coming from them at all?
Oh, no, I do. But I like to point out that actually yesterday I received a phone call from Congressman Langford. Do you know who Congressman Langford is?
No, cue me in.
Okay, Congressman Langford is a Republican congressman from the state of Oklahoma.
Okay.
I contacted his office about 3 weeks prior. I actually was not expecting a phone call back from him yesterday, but our conversation went to Michael Hayden. Michael Hayden was the head of the CIA and also the head of the NSA. And Senator Langford asked me for the screenshots I had from Michael Hayden's Twitter account, where Michael Hayden was advocating for violence against all Republicans across the board. It didn't matter. Anybody who had the badge of Republican, he said that anyone who had ever voted Republican was an absolute terrorist and
who is Michael Hayden? Okay, who is Michael Hayden?
Head of the CIA. He was the head of the CIA and the head of the NSA. I can share the screenshot with you from Twitter. And so I was asked by Senator Langford to provide the screenshots. I was also asked to provide some other stuff on some other issues with the FBI and ATF. Okay. And so so what you have is violence being called from on both the left and the right. I'm a centrist.
Fine.
First of all, I didn't vote for Trump the second time, and I didn't vote for Biden. I'm a centrist. I looked at both candidates and asked myself, if this is the best that the hippie generation has to offer, I'm not voting for either one. However, as a person in the middle, maybe I have a little bit different optic, and that's what I'm trying to share. And my optic.
Listen, I gotta move it on, man. I do got other folks in the box. You're always welcome back. Share those screenshots with me on my profile. I do have my email address. I really want to see those screenshots. Okay, anytime you see me back on, I'll put you back on.
I'll talk about it on the news. If you subscribe to my channel, I have a news brief I do all the time, and I talk about it in my news brief.
All right, send me an email. I'll subscribe to your channel.
Okay, you got it.
All right.
No problem.
Appreciate you coming through. Okay. And then looking in the box, and folks, regardless if we agree or disagree, the whole purpose of this particular live is to hear the other side speak. Obviously, you see my name. I make it clear my preferred audience is MAGA. So we're not always going to agree or agree on everything. I don't see things the way that caller did, but I want to see what he has to offer. Okay, going back to the box. Oh, Lord, he has a channel. Oh, man. Trump is a traitor and he should get punished by the full extent of the law. Well, you know, he is a former president, so that actually may exclude him. Before I go right back to the box, I just want to give you guys a taste of what we're actually talking about here. So, if you will.
Look.
This is President Biden.
You're either on the side of a mob or the side of the police. You can't be pro-law enforcement and pro-insurrection. You can't be a party of law and order and call the people who attacked the police on January 6th patriots.
That's what we're talking about. President Biden abandons unity. Tick-tart, cute patriot. Guest of the program, friend of the program. We're going to bring Tick-tart on, patriot. Good afternoon, sir. What's on your mind?
What's going on, handsome? How are you?
No. What do you think of what Biden had to say there? You think he's on to something? You think he's off his rocker?
So
Dementia. Let's string together two sentences. Go ahead.
Is that the same speech where at the end he said, and we're going to make sure that we don't ever let anybody steal an election again? Is that the same speech?
I don't believe this is that. This is very recent. This just happened yesterday.
Okay, so the one I'm talking about happened maybe the day before, but he did. He said, okay, we're never going to let anybody steal another election again.
I have had that discussed on my program several times, and people suggesting that means that he stole the election. What if it means another election he's talking about? Does it have to be this election?
Well, I mean, what if he's talking about the 16 one? Even so, I mean, if it was, why didn't she have it contested?
Well, maybe what he was suggesting was just locker room talk. How about that? Maybe it didn't mean anything.
Or maybe he's just hiding. Maybe he's just hiding in plain sight. Especially after you put together what old Zuckerberg said last week.
Wait, since when do we trust Zuckerberg? Isn't he a member of the deep state? Are we trusting Facebook CEOs now?
What did he say though?
We don't trust Zuckerberg. He's a member of the deep state. Who cares what he says?
Maybe he's flipped, bro. I'm just saying. He put it out there that the FBI put him up to it.
And maybe he's doing acid and he's off his rocker. We don't trust Zuckerberg. He's a member of the deep state. We can't.
But wait a minute. You all trust him, right?
I don't know. So what about this statement, though? What about what Biden had to say? Is there any validity in that? Is he crazy? You can't.
I mean, it's a good spin. It's a good spin to put on it. I mean, good way to get people to look at it the way he needs them to look at it for November.
But do you agree with it? And real quick, I want you to respond to this. I always get interesting comments in the section, and I like to read these guys' comments. When people say stuff that's interesting, what do you think about this? Rubber Chicken Head, an interesting name, by the way, says that the real Joe Biden has died. What do you do with that?
I mean, you all, if you can go to your family barbecue and you can look at little baby Joey and say, wow, little baby Joey looks exactly like dad, right? And then you go and you take a picture of 2016 Vice President Biden and hold it next to 2022 President Biden and say that's the same person. I'd say you're off your freaking rocker.
So you actually believe Biden has passed away as well?
I didn't say he's passed away. I'm saying it's not the same person.
Wait. Let me get this again for clarity. You're saying that the guy that's currently in office is in an acting role as President Biden. That is not the same guy that ran in 2016. Am I correct?
Not the same guy. Look at the earlobes, the way they attach to the face. That doesn't change. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So it's a different. So where's the original?
Don't know.
Why would
I
they
mean, is
do
it
that?
possible that he's already been locked up if he is it possible that he's been locked up if he really was a traitor?
You're saying Joe Biden potentially could be locked up for being a traitor to the United States?
Absolutely.
What has Joe Biden did to make him qualify as a traitor?
I mean, look at it. He did it in front of your face with Ukraine. Quid pro quo. He said, if you don't, this is on video, if you don't fire that prosecutor and hire this one, then you're not going to get the $1 billion. That's quid pro quo, no matter which way you want to look at it.
Did they not also suggest that Trump was denying aid to the Ukrainians in a quid pro quo fashion, demanding that they come up with information on President Biden? Isn't that the
They
same thing they
also
said
said
about
that he
President Trump?
colluded with Russia. They also
Well,
say he colluded with Russia.
and now
So,
they're
I
saying
mean,
that,
how many
and now they're
times?
saying
How
that,
many
right.
times?
Okay, so they said Trump colluded with Russia, and now they're saying that the earlobes of the guy that's saying he's president of the United States shows he's not the right guy. You're going to be on my YouTube page with my most
Hey, put me
interesting
on
talk.
there. Put me on there, bro, because every day that goes by, I feel more and more vindicated.
Okay, so in other words, this guy. So is this guy that we have now? Because obviously you didn't vote for Biden in 2016, right?
So would you say at
Or
this
20?
point? No, I did not. No, I did
Okay.
not.
So do you
So
think
at
that
this
this?
point, would you say
Go ahead.
who is pulling Biden's strings? Because obviously somebody is. Who's pulling
I
Biden's
don't.
strings?
I don't believe anybody rises to the level of commander in chief, the most powerful man in the world, to let somebody else pull their strings. I believe Biden is doing what Biden wants to do. I don't believe there's anybody pulling the strings.
So have you ever heard this? Have you ever heard this quote? Have you ever heard this quote?
Give it to
Allow
me.
me to control a nation's money, and I care not who makes its laws.
No, I have not. No, I have
allow
not.
me
But
to control a nation's money, and
I get your quote. No, I have
so
not. But with America being so pro capitalism, I can see how that might have an effect here.
okay. So do any of us alive today know capitalism without the Federal Reserve or the IRS?
No.
No, we don't. And is that fair to blame capitalism for all their problems if, in fact, the people that issue our money and the people that collect our taxes don't belong to us?
Yeah, I blame capitalism because capitalism is what set our mindset. The things you vote on often, everything we try to vote on in this country, the first response is who's going to pay for it. Everything we do in this country is money oriented. Take out the Federal Reserve and all of the groups you're talking about. Just listen to the people, even if it's health care.
Well, sure.
Well, who's going to pay for it?
Absolutely. They need it. Why do they need it so bad? Because off the break, a quarter of our paychecks are being taken by somebody that doesn't belong to us.
Okay. I'm just simply answering your question about whether capitalism is an issue or not. Every single thing that the voters in this country complain about is based on money. I don't want to do this because it's going to cost too much. I don't want to do that because it's going to break me. We make all of our decisions based on our pocketbook. So, yes, capitalism in a country where everything we do is based on money, I could see someone saying if you control their money, you control their policies because they're money oriented.
Okay, so would you say that the founding fathers intended for the country to be a business?
No.
Okay, would you agree that it is a business since it takes in $6 trillion a year?
Yes.
Okay, when and how did it become a business? And is it constitutional?
When everybody got old, it became a business when everybody got greedy. We're at the point right now where we even incarcerate people for profit. We do everything in this country, including taking away or giving you freedoms based on how much money they can make out of it. You get police officers that are not even trying to impose safety, but pulling people over for moving violations just to make money. Everything we do is like a business. Your turn.
How much freedom is there in that?
I don't think there's any from that standpoint.
Exactly my point. When and where did it become a business? And is it possible right now, with what we're going through, all the turmoil, everything that we've seen in the last 6 years, is it possible that that business is being dissolved and Biden's the face of it and the military is truly in charge of the republic at this point?
I don't believe the military is in charge, but in regards to the business, I
Why not?
believe
Because
that.
the two-star general in charge of the DC National Guard was on live television just before the inauguration telling the people that there would be a peaceful transition of power to the military.
Well, the reason I don't believe the military is in charge is because the military likes to do what is in the best interest of the military. They like job security as well. They would not have left Afghanistan if the military wanted to be in charge. That's not job security to be bringing people home.
What is the military's number one mission?
To protect the United States.
Negative. To protect the Constitution.
Okay. If that's the case,
am I wrong?
Then how the hell
do you take an oath to the United States or do you take an oath to the Constitution?
Well, it depends. It's a difference between what you say and what you actually do. You can take an oath to whatever the hell you want. That don't mean that's what you're doing. If the military's job is based on what you're saying to protect the Constitution, then how the hell did we have slavery and women's suffrage and all of that? They clearly weren't doing that. They clearly were not doing that.
Because of the corporation. Because the corporation circumvents the Constitution.
Okay, then the idea that they are here to protect the Constitution is nothing more than lip service. You're admitting that.
What authorization do they have to have in order to protect the Constitution?
They're actually answering to the commander-in-chief. I'm gonna have to wrap it. I gotta move it on, but I'll give you the last word. Because we're talking about what Biden had to say. We're on a whole different topic. But go ahead. I'll give you the last word.
If they have to answer to the commander-in-chief, I agree with you. However, what if the commander-in-chief is a fraud?
Then that's a problem. That's a
Yes,
problem.
it is. And every day that goes by, we get one more little tidbit of to why that is actually happening. Whether you get it from the mainstream news or if it's coming out through interviews with Joe Rogan.
Okay, fair enough. And I will say this, every single commander-in-chief we've had in our lifetime, we've had citizens suggesting that that person is a fraud. And that will continue. I appreciate you coming through, TikTok.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. What do you think? Is Biden a fraud? Is Biden even the actual guy that we elected president? Some would argue we didn't even elect him at all. But what do you think in regards to my previous caller? Do you think that the current guy in the White House is a doppelganger? A stunt double? You heard the man. I make it clear, despite my name, despite my politics, I prefer MAGA, and I let people speak. You do not get banned or censored on this broadcast. Now, you heard that man. I want to see what you guys have to say. Yes, Biden is a fraud. Okay, if you believe that Biden is not doing what's in the best interest of the country, and you lean right, you're doing your job. You're supposed to hate liberals. But what about the idea that he's not even the same guy that was on stage debating with Trump in 2015 and 16? Or better yet, 2018, 19 and 2020. Is that not the same guy? Is that not the same guy that was the vice president behind Barack Obama? My previous caller suggested you can tell the difference by his earlobes. Going to the only Jimmy, my Pizzini. Just had to. I haven't seen him tonight. The only Jimmy. Good afternoon.
Hey, handsome. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. What do you think? Is that the Biden we put in office? Is this a different guy?
You know, I'm going to jump out of pocket here for a minute, and I'm going to have to agree with your previous caller. That is clearly Elvis dressed up like Biden, and that's who's actually running the country right now. And Tupac is pulling his strings. You know.
So I'm assuming you disagree.
Yeah. You know what's funny about that is that I don't disagree with the concept that it could be someone at any given time that takes over for one of our leaders. Listen, I can't even say that that's not possible because it is. I think, with the way that we have, we can make these masks and such and all that. I'm sure that it's possible Do I think it's probable? Not even close. Like, I think you're completely right. I think that when you're a type of person that comes to power, you're not going to let anyone control you or exchange you for someone else because you're an egomaniac. And I think that applies to the left or the right, whoever that is.
Right.
So, but yeah, I want to
So,
try to spin back to what you were saying earlier about, you asking if he's trying to unite us. And
yes.
I don't think that necessarily what Biden said is something that's just going to unite people. But I will say this, that not attacking police is something the right has been preaching for a very long time. So to
Damn
hear
right.
Biden saying that is something that we can pretty much universally agree with, right? Or we should agree with, that we should not be attacking our police or our Capitol. I think as Americans, that should be something that we can all agree on, whether we agree with each other's policies or not. If that had
So,
been, I'll give you.
so has the Republicans essentially given the liberals a one-up? Remember, the Democrats were defunding the police, burning down cities, pigs in a blanket, saying all kinds of negative things about police. Now, all of a sudden, you got defund the FBI. You got videos of MAGA beating police. Have they given the liberals a one-up to escape all of the negatives that have come out of the liberals saying defund the police? Has the Republicans literally stepped down to that level and put themselves in harm's way?
Well, yeah, and I think you're right. I don't think that they ever. I just think they were the initial commentary is basically just lip service to amp up your base. Like, I don't think that MAGA was necessarily pro police at all. I think it just helps them get votes and gets people on their side. I think that if you ask
Wow.
anyone, especially the people I know that are MAGA, I can tell you most certainly almost every one of them was a criminal when we were coming up together. So like they hated the police, F the system, and they'll still say things like that. So like you can't say that you support the government and then you hate the government in the same breath. That's not, I don't care about, and I hear people say this on your show all the time. I don't care about any Republican except for Trump. Well, then do you hate America because of that? You flipped it to the other side where you go, people are attacking the Constitution when they take a knee for the anthem. Like we can play this game of you're evil, no, you're evil all day long. Like, just like I see a lot, again, I've probably seen it 100 times in your comments today. Democrats are communists, but these are the same people that were wearing the shirts that said, I would rather have Putin than have Hillary Clinton. Like,
Good point. Good point. Wow. Yeah, that's a
I
good
wanted to
point.
I wanted to ask something. I'm sure you may have heard this before, but this is the only thing I actually logged in to say on your to ask you today was that
Okay.
I had an interesting perspective dropped on me because a lot of people are saying, well, Democrats are just scared of Trump running. Okay, let's take that one thing for a second and say, do we think Biden was really popular before he was elected? The
No.
answer is no. So how did
No.
Biden get the most votes in history? Because Trump is really good at generating negative votes. Like, we like
Yeah.
voting against him. For me, he's like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, I love to hate them. It's one of those kind of things, right? So we actually won seats that we would not have won because people were going out to vote against Trump. So to say that we're afraid of him, I think is a misnomer. I would love to see him run again. Why? Because whoever's like, he lost by 3 million votes the first time and 7 million the second. And that was before January 6th, before the FBI found all these documents in his house. It might be the biggest blowout that we've ever seen. So like
Well,
having him
it's
run
not
again.
that it's not that liberals are afraid of Trump running. They're afraid of Trump winning. If Trump was to win in 2024, the amount of liberal tears you would see flowing would probably be amazing. So they're afraid of him winning because let's just be real. If Trump wins, he's going to be on a revenge tour. There's going to be heads rolling
Yeah.
everywhere. I mean, we all, and that's not just with liberals. There's a lot of right wingers that he has revenge to pay to also. So if Trump were to win, Governor Kemp, who just looks like he's on path to be reelected if he defeats Stacey Abrams down in Georgia, he would be someone that Trump would go after. All of those folks who spoke negatively of him in terms of the election, Mitch McConnell, his days would be numbered. So if Trump were to win, he would be on a revenge tour. And that's one of the things I often ask my MAGA followers is that how, even if you love Trump, you absolutely adore his agenda and think that is what's right for America. How could you possibly think he would be able to implement it with so many members of his own party not liking him? I just don't understand it, but I'll let you go.
Yeah, you know what? The only thing that I would say to that specifically is that even though a lot of them don't like him, they voted for his policies anyway. So I feel like he may be able to get some things done for that side of the aisle, maybe. Um, but yeah, I think you're right. I think like I don't know. I think I told you before. I live in Maryland. I have probably the most popular Republican governor in the nation. He has the highest approval rating amongst any Republican. But he spoke out
And
against Trump.
he hates Trump.
And
Yeah,
yeah, I'm sure Trump would
yeah, I've
crap
seen
all
him.
over him. And it's funny because a lot
Yeah,
of his policies they're very similar. They're businessmen. They want to, I think our slogan got changed to we're open for business or something when he was in office, things like that. So, and he's in the last section of his term. So, like we're actually going to be voting on a new governor. So that, I guess that wouldn't impact us at this point, but that man holds a grudge. And if Hogan tries to run for president or something like that, for example, he's definitely going to attack him. So I don't think you're
yeah.
going to see my governor run for president until after Trump is out of politics. So
Yeah, he definitely holds a grudge. All right, Pazami, I gotta go.
all right, man, you
Appreciate
have
you
a great
coming
rest of
by,
your
man.
day.
Absolutely. Real quick, Skip said, "What? Oh, I wanted to read that. Something to the nature of that. Once the Republicans win, I'm going to be off TikTok. No, of course not. If I prefer speaking to MAGA, I want to hear you guys gloat. I want to hear you brag if Trump were to win. I still would talk to you guys. I enjoy talking to you, even though we have a difference of opinion. Now, I started out being viewed by a lot of folks as potentially MAGA, leaning too far to the right. No, I'm willing to criticize both sides of the aisle when I see something wrong. Earlier this year, I was calling Biden out right and left. I thought his agenda, his administration was doing a horrible job. I still do not see the economy where it was under Trump, so I'm still going to give Trump the slight edge over Biden. However, it seems like I'm leaning more left to people nowadays because I'm not criticizing Biden as heavy. Fact is, his administration's, the job they're doing, their job performance is getting better. If you want to hate on Biden and you lean right, you're MAGA, I totally understand that. That is what you are supposed to do. However, I only ask that you be biased. To be fair, call a spade, no matter who the hell is dealing the cards. And if you look at our economy now, despite how much you may hate it, you look at our gas prices, despite how high they are, they're not the same as they were in June or May or April. It has gotten better. If you want to try to pretend as though shit is still as fucked up as it was in June or May, I'm going to call you out because that's simply not true. All right, going back to the box. DJ, Fly Guy, friend of the program, frequent viewer, love talking to DJ. Good evening or good afternoon, DJ. What's on your mind?
What's good? What's good? What's good, man?
Always good to hear. Always good to know what it feels like in 1943. Skies over London. I love the air raid siren. So, what about Joe Biden? Did you hear the video? Did you hear the clip I played on Joe Biden?
Yep.
What do you think about that?
Man, listen, I listened to that whole speech yesterday and I agree with every single word that man spewed out of his mouth yesterday. Everything he said he was supposed to say. I'm tired of these people.
You sound like MAGA though. What about unity? You sound like when Trump was saying all kinds of divisive anti-liberal stuff, MAGA was saying, finally we got a guy that says what needs to be said. We like calling him out. You sound like MAGA for Biden.
Well, if that's what you want to call it, I call it mega for I call it mega for the real American people that want to include everybody. You see, mega, the people that are going so hard for Trump are the people that believe this country belongs to them and only them. It's
Give me
not
an example. Elaborate on that.
Well, they just not inclusive. They're not an inclusive party. They not including people on their preferences, how they want to live. They taking rights from women. They just not an inclusive party, man. That's the thing I love about Democrats. Democrats are not telling people who they can love, what to do with their body. They really not. Joe is sitting up there getting stuff done while everybody else is arguing, while
Okay.
everybody else is fussing across the table and throwing food across the table. Joe Biden is actually sitting at the head of the table getting stuff done, and that's what I like
So
about him.
when you say that MAGA is not inclusive, let's take from our standpoint, African Americans. Do you think that MAGA is not inclusive to black people?
Yeah, if you got that hat on,
So they are inclusive as long as you are down with the cause.
as long as you down with them.
Okay, is that. I mean, is the liberals not the same way? I mean, are the liberals going to be inclusive to people wearing a red hat?
No, because Democrats don't care who you vote for and who you love and all that kind of stuff. Like you part of the United States. We don't beat you up. We don't tear you down because of who you are and all that kind of stuff. The right,
Okay.
the mega people, they go in. They go in. They call us names. They want us to leave their country. They don't
Okay.
want you here. They don't want you here. All they want to do, they just want to control this land and they want things to go back being predominantly, and I hate to say it, for the white man. And that's the way it is. But I just wanted to come on and just to tell you, man, that yesterday I had something to say about the topic you had on yesterday, but I can't remember what it is. But today, like I said, man, Joe Biden is doing a jam up job. I'm proud of what he's doing. In
All
my
right.
opinion, if he can get another 4 years in, if his health holds out and he can get another 4 years, God damn it, I'm gonna vote for him again, and I'm gonna fly flags, and I'm gonna put it on my truck, and I'm gonna play some music, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna be so proud, man.
Um, I think you might be asking too. I think you might be asking for too much. He'll be 82 in 2024. I don't know. Another
Yeah,
4 years. That may
yeah,
he ain't exactly Betty White. I mean, you trying to put a pretty old man in there.
yeah. He's getting up there. He's getting up there pretty
Yeah.
high, man. But we just cannot have another president like Donald Trump. If a Republican wins and the dude is jam up, man, and he stands for what's right. He can get my vote. He can get my vote. I just want somebody in the chair that's honest and that's for everybody and that's not trying to tell everybody
I
to
get it.
hate everybody. Yeah, yeah. So
All right.
yeah,
All right,
yeah.
DJ. All
All
right.
right, man. That's all the time, man.
I always love your opening horn. Catch you on the next one, man.
All right, man. Be good, man.
All right. Peace out. Okay. Well, talking about once again, I just wanted before we go right back to the box because there's been. And by the way, folks, y'all might as well make 10,000 likes happen. Tap the damn screen. I know there's some patriots in here that are not completely on par with what we're talking about, but I always let patriots speak. This is a fair, unjudgmental forum. I let folks get their point across. But what are we talking about today? Joe Biden. I don't know. This is
You're
Joe.
on the side of a mob, to the side of the police. You can't be pro-law enforcement and pro-insurrection. You can't be a party of law and order and call the people who attacked the police on January 6th patriots. You can't do it. What are we teaching our children? It's just that simple.
So
now it's sickening.
So what do you think? Do you think with folks on television participating in January 6th, referring to them as patriots. You know, Trump did say, I love you, go home, refer to it as a love fest. A lot of Trumpers refer to it as a tour of the Capitol building. Biden is asking, what are we teaching our children? Are we teaching children that that was okay in the name of fighting for your country, fighting for democracy? Just want to go back to the box. Had to ask that true Rican pride. Puerto Rican pride, true Rican pride. Good afternoon. I think, or maybe I'm wrong. True Rican pride. Good afternoon.
How's it going, man? The mental gymnastics.
Elaborate. Tell me what you're talking about.
Well, you know, that's always been. There's nothing new with the Republican Party with regards to that. It's just them trying to control the narrative. It's always been that way, where they're okay with police as long as police is okay with them. It's always been something that they utilize in order to get people to vote for them because they figure that Democrats aren't down with the police, or we want crime-ridden neighborhoods and all that. I think there's a fine medium to everything. And they showed their true colors. So
you're suggesting that the Republican Party, similar to my previous caller, you're saying that the Republican Party is really not pro-police at all.
They haven't been. It's just it's a way to get people to jump on their bandwagon. Except when the police are in favor of them. Listen, I saw a video where a police officer stopped a judge, a Caucasian judge. You know one of the first things he told them?
What?
Run the registration. That's it. He ran the registration, and the police said, "You have a good day, Judge."
Wow.
I've never had that happen.
That's privilege. That's judicial privilege right there.
Well, there you go. You know, it's only good when it favors you. You know, I mean, I honestly am surprised because I was expecting something completely different from DJ, and I'm really dumbfounded. I'm actually applauding and agreeing with him.
DJ leans left, no doubt. What about in the comments? Soccer 5004 said, "Vote Republican, vote for prosperity."
That's not
you
prosperity.
Think voting for Republicans might grant us prosperity?
No, not at all. I mean, they've always been this party where they want to take the rights away. They want to tailor your life around what they deem to be a style of living that they want you to live.
Give me 3 rights that you're suggesting Republicans want to take rights away. Obviously, pro-choice, pro-life is going to be in the conversation. Give me 2 other rights that you believe Republicans... Huh?
They want to obligate you to go along with the religion of their choice. They don't believe. They say they're religious as long as you're Christian. That's one. They want to contest everything with talking points, but they use zero reasoning behind what they're saying.
I haven't seen anything that suggests Republicans want to take away your freedom of religion. I haven't. Where are you getting that from?
Well, look in Texas, right? In Texas, I believe they're obligated to tailor everything around Christianity. In Florida, I believe that's something that they're trying to do as well.
How so? By what means? By what means are you saying that? I'm not aware of that.
Seeing a video where they're going to be putting signs in classes, something about Christianity. I would have to look that up because I just finished seeing it, but I don't remember the details. I do know that there's a company that sponsors the Republican Party and is mass producing these signs to be put into classrooms.
Give me another one. I'll do some research on that as well. If you get something you can show me, send it to my email. Give me another right.
I mean, I'll give you, things that I know they're going to target, but they haven't gone against as of yet because they haven't moved forward as of yet. They're definitely going to go after the LGBTQ plus community. That's coming down the pipe.
What makes you think that?
Because Roe versus Wade was something that they were eager to try to get out of the way as long as they had the support. Everything is being tailored right now in order for them to have the door open. Plus, they know they have the Supreme Court. They know that. So anything contested in the Supreme Court, they know the outcome. They already know it. It's
Well,
just
not necessarily. Let me make it clear for you and everybody else that's watching. I'm not defending Republicans or
no,
MAGA.
no.
I always like to
Mhm.
play devil's advocate, and I'm asking these questions to the gentleman because he said they're coming for rights. I want to make sure he can defend what he's saying. Now, when you said the Supreme Court, they know they have the Supreme Court in their pocket. Wouldn't that wouldn't that be viewed differently under the fact that they wouldn't even listen to Trump's claim that the election was stolen? If they had the Supreme Court under their belt, wouldn't they have defended Trump in the 2020 election?
In the 2020 election,
Yeah. Everybody expected that they would defend Trump in regards to his claims the election was stolen, and they did not.
that's true. That's true. I'll concede to that. I mean, I have to really look into that, but I don't think that they want to seem like a rubber stamp for him either. Because remember, they're also there for life. So they really
Okay.
don't have any loyalties that they need to give him at all. But
Okay.
they're still part of the Republican Party. And, whether you like it or not, they probably get some funding under the table that people are not aware of.
Okay. I just wanted to find out because you said the Supreme Court was in his pocket, but now you're saying they don't want to be a rubber stamp. So if they're
Well, no,
not a
no, no,
rubber
no, no, no,
stamp,
no, 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 no. Well, the thing is, you may not want to, for appearance's sake, you don't want to appear like a rubber stamp. It doesn't mean that you aren't. You've had Lindsey Graham do gymnastics when these people were outright talking bad about him, when he had nothing over them. Ted Cruz is another individual who was calling him a liar, was calling him that. And then all of a sudden, he becomes a Trump apologist. Lindsey Graham, a
well,
Trump
I'm not just
apologist.
wait. Now, when you're talking about Lindsey Graham with Trump giving out his phone number on television, or Ted Cruz with Trump talking about his wife, and both of those guys coming back to Trump, I'm not disagreeing with you that Lindsey Graham and
He's cut
Ted
off.
Cruz are kiss asses. I'm disagreeing with you that the Supreme Court is in the pocket of the Republicans. I'm saying that there is evidence to suggest that that's not true. There's plenty of evidence to agree with you in regards to Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham. Those two gentlemen, even most of my MAGA audience will agree that Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham are just opportunists. They're going to ride on Trump coattails as long as he'll get them to their destination. If they think Trump is failing, they'll jump off and attack Trump under any circumstance. Both Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz have tell-all books that speak negatively of Trump in their future. Those guys are just opportunists. But you mentioned the Supreme Court. That's why I brought that up. Okay, for some reason he dropped out of the box. I don't know what happened there. All politics is based on corrupt people and agendas. Yeah, that's how they overturned Roe versus Wade, dude. Swift Dog. Yeah, there's a long history behind how Roe versus Wade got turned, starting with Obama having his Merrick Garland, who's turning back to be a nightmare for Republicans, but Merrick Garland's block by Mitch McConnell is where it started. And then obviously giving Trump the ability to appoint 3 Supreme Court justices. So that's kind of where that started. We'll see where it goes, though, because it's looking like if women rise up, like many folks are expecting them to do, and actually secure abortion rights as an amendment or something that's actually part of law, then you can go around the Supreme Court. This is what should have happened. But in addition to Merrick Garland being denied, you would have to blame Ruth Bader Ginsburg, battling cancer on multiple accounts and refusing to retire, even though Obama urged her to step down. So Ruth Bader Ginsburg also gets some of the blame in this. And last but not least, this is a little bit off kilter, but Bernie Sanders. Take Bernie Sanders out of the mix and Hillary Clinton would have won in 2016. Bernie Sanders stepped up, divided the Democratic vote, created a lot more hatred for Hillary Clinton among Democrats. Republicans are supposed to hate her. I don't care about that. We're talking about the Democrats. She was severely bruised in the battle between her and Bernie Sanders. By the time it was over, a lot of Bernie Sanders voters either stayed home or voted for Trump. Take Bernie Sanders out of the picture, you got Hillary Clinton in 2016 appointing liberal judges. Going back to the box. I cannot get that. Real Jones, we'll just go with looking in the comments here. Jones, can you hear me? Good evening, sir.
I've never screamed at my phone so much until I watched your live.
Give me what you got. Let me have it.
People do know, just like in the Democratic Party, the Republican Party is split, right? Like, do people know what a rhino
Oh,
is?
absolutely.
Like, there are plenty of people in the Republican Party that we're trying to get out. But the fact that people don't see that there's a split, just like every other party, I don't understand.
Right.
On top of the fact,
Right.
okay, are we gonna be serious and try to pretend like the Democrats really give a shit about law enforcement? I mean, they're trying to get rid of law enforcement. I mean, I'm from Washington State, so if people are trying to say that they're all of a sudden on the side of law enforcement, you're lying to yourselves. That's
So
you guys are
what
the ones
about
defunding them. But I'm not
so
saying
what
that
about
I'm not saying that
okay,
all Republicans are on the side of law enforcement either. Because I
okay,
mean,
that's fine. Let me respond to that in regards to Democrats suddenly being a party in favor of law enforcement. What about the notion that they are now both saying defund law enforcement? Does it make either one more in favor of law enforcement? Maybe they both don't give a shit about law enforcement. Is that not possible?
and I'm saying, like I said, both parties split down the middle. There are people that care about law enforcement. There are people that don't care about law enforcement.
Okay.
But
All right.
we can't. I mean, we got to be transparent when we come to a lot of our politicians nowadays. You can't just base like Ted Cruz and fucking like nobody likes Ted Cruz. And on top of the fact, I used to be a Democrat as well when Hillary Clinton was running. I didn't like Hillary Clinton. We all thought she was a cyborg that wore the dress suit.
So what is a patriot then? If we both sides dislike law enforcement, when the right says they're patriots, how can you, as Biden stated, can you be patriotic to the United States and anti-law enforcement at the same time?
Does law enforcement? I mean, you can be against certain things and still be a patriot. I mean, is law enforcement? If we all tell off for if you're a patriot or not, for if you support them, no. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't really stand by everything the military does, but yet they still will, be okay with the fact that we have a military. I mean,
So
there's people loving this country, loving this country, and loving the people that also love this country is what I feel being a patriot. It doesn't matter about liking law enforcement because there are plenty of people in law enforcement that are a piece of shit. It's not about liking law enforcement. If you love this country and you're willing to do whatever it takes to make this country better, especially when it comes to, I mean, not hurting your own fellow countrymen, that is what I feel is a patriot. And a lot of people are falling off what it is to be a patriot. I mean, like I said, I'm from Washington State. I've seen law enforcement getting attacked by people who claim to be on the side of Black Lives Matter in the Democratic Party, to the point where they were using high-powered beams to blind law enforcement. They tried to burn law enforcement inside of the police precinct.
So when you say loving this country and the people in this country as being a patriot, what if you don't like the LGBT community? You don't even want them to be able to marry the person of their choice. Is that not loving the people? You view that as loving the people in the country?
I feel like people will hold everybody as a whole. On top of the fact that they ignore the true fact of the matter. There's a bunch of people that is cool with the LGBT. The problem is the T's that they have a problem with, and a lot of it is with the kids. And I'm like, okay, well, I can understand. I mean, I've seen my daughter get bullied by that community just because she didn't want to join a Discord that was LGBTQ and friends, and they tried to say she was homophobic, even though she just didn't want to join the Discord. I was like, wow, that's what the fuck. Like, my daughter was 11 years old when that happened. I still got the text messages in my phone.
Okay. What about the women complaining that the anti-abortion laws is going to result in a lot of hardships on their life?
Which women? Because we also have women that are saying that they approve of this. I mean, again, transparency. Like everybody, we're bringing power back to the states. If you don't like what you see,
well, wait a minute.
If you don't like what you see, you can...
Okay, let me respond to that. Because you hear this often when it comes to rolling back Roe versus Wade. The complaint is they're just giving power back to the states. There are already states trying to pass laws that prevent their citizens from leaving the state and having an abortion elsewhere. So it's not necessarily just giving power back to
But
the states.
I mean, states do that regardless of if it's just abortion or something. They're doing that just for people that want to move just because of the price of living in certain places. They do it to make sure that people don't leave because they need people. At the end of the day, that's just the way
Wait,
a lot of these
what
states
laws
operate.
are being passed? What laws are being passed that prevent people from moving to a different state for economic reasons? What are you talking about?
In California, people have been moving out of California, and California has been making it a lot harder for people to leave.
How?
I'll get back into that, but I do know that they are doing that.
How can you do that? Do you realize how many expats from California now living in Houston area and now living in Phoenix, Arizona? They're moving right and left. How can you stop somebody from moving out of your state?
You guys believe that people can stop you from leaving your state from Roe v. Wade, but you don't believe people can
I
stop you
can
from
give
moving
you an
just from.
example. Let me give you this, and you tell me what you think of it. In the state of Missouri, they have a law on the books that once a woman is conceived, once the moment of conception happens, they will deem that embryo growing inside of that woman as a resident of Missouri. You can look this up. And the congresswoman, the representative from Missouri, stated, we're passing this law so that if anything happens to a resident of our state, the person responsible can be held accountable. Meaning that if a mom is pregnant and she goes out of state and has an abortion and kills the resident of Missouri inside of her, the state of Missouri can take action against her. That's an actual law. Now, when you said people cannot move, I just
At
had to ask
conception,
how they're doing that.
at conception, we're saying conception, right? Because at that point, what are we saying? You're
Wait,
saying
say that
that
again.
you're saying that they're saying that the baby has rights and that they don't
They're
want the
saying
person
that
to
a
leave.
baby, they're saying that an embryo at the time of conception is considered a resident of the state, similar to a citizen. That embryo inside of you is now considered a resident of Missouri. So if you do anything to that embryo, you're harming a resident of our state and they can take action against you.
I'll have to do research on that as well because I'm not in
Okay.
front of a
All right.
computer. Just like you would have to do research on some shit that I said, because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, I don't have, like I said plenty of things have went through for people not to be able to leave. So I mean, if we're saying that that's not true, then why are people saying that these laws being passed, it makes them impossible for them to leave anyway?
Well, here's
So
the
how is it
difference,
not
though.
nobody can leave?
Here's the
How is it
difference, though.
nobody can leave, but yet you're
Yeah.
saying that that's not the case then?
But here's the difference, though. When you ask me how are they stopping a woman from going to a different state to have an abortion, I gave you the gist of what that law is. When you said people are being stopped from leaving California to go somewhere else for economic reasons, you just said I got to read you. So I don't even know what to Google because you didn't give me anything. That's the difference.
I said in general, though. I
Okay.
said
All
just in
right.
basics.
All right. Well,
So I mean,
go ahead.
but I mean that's not really why I came on here anyway. I
Sure.
was coming on here to talk about the Trump supporter and the fact that everybody else. I mean, they're not for the police though, and nobody out here is for the police. Not Democrats, not any of those people.
So
So I mean, if we're trying to pretend like Democrats and Joe Biden are for the police, even though we literally watched them for the whole campaign attack police officers, even when as far as defunding police officers, the police chief in Seattle, black police chief, wasn't even in office for that long, and yet they defunded her, making her make less than her white male counterpart. So we're doing all of this in the name of Black Lives Matter for what?
okay.
And
I
then
get your
we're
point.
saying, and then we're saying,
Yeah, I get your point. I'm not disagreeing with it. But what you're basically saying is that both the Democrats and Republicans, when they say they support police, are lying. So when Republicans are carrying around these Blue Lives Matter flags, you're saying they're no different than Black Lives Matter the way they're critical.
I'm saying be more transparent on who the fuck you guys are talking about, because there's plenty of people that believe in certain things and there's plenty of people that don't. And I mean, we can't sit here and pretend like Joe Biden and the Democrats are all for the police when they've shown not to be.
Well, and now you're admitting that we can't sit here and pretend like the Republicans are for the police either. When you say be transparent, The best
Yeah, I'm saying,
example
yeah.
of when you
Yeah,
say be transparent, when you say be transparent, I guess the best example I can give you is pictures of MAGA beating Capitol Police with a Blue Lives Matter flag. I think that's about the best example of not being
and the
pro-police
best
I can give you.
example we could give is all of the footage we've had with our cities getting destroyed and the police force getting attacked, and the fact that we have proof that police officers are literally getting ambushed. I mean, police officers are getting ambushed as of right now.
Okay. So, well, and you just had a guy go to Cincinnati to the FBI office with an AR-15 and tried to ambush. What you're making, the point you're making is that no one on both sides, there's plenty of dislike for police. I'm fine with that. Then
Yeah.
nobody should be walking around carrying Blue Lives Matter flags, making it sound like their party is pro-police. You got President Trump suggesting that that is the party of law and order. You, by your own self, sir, are stating that the
No,
Republicans are not the party
no.
of law and
I
order.
told you. No, I did not say that. I told you it's split. I told you
Okay.
at the beginning. I said that for both your party and mine. So, yes,
All right.
there are Republicans that are for law enforcement, and there are Republicans that are completely against it. Did I not say
And vice
that
versa.
at the beginning of this?
And vice versa. So, in other words, when it comes to supporting the police, the Democrats are no worse or better than Republicans. It's pretty much the same.
That one would have to be seen.
Take your time.
That one would have to be seen, though.
Okay.
I mean,
all right.
you guys
Okay.
are doing a lot more of the passing of the laws that are affecting law enforcement than we are. Wouldn't you agree?
Okay. Well, if you're on television as the president of the United States saying you can't even trust whole branches of law enforcement,
I believe a good amount of my neighbors are Democrat leaning, but yet they appreciate law enforcement out here. We have a whole Black Watch community. So again, like I said, I mean the people compared to the people passing laws, that's a whole different story.
All right. Okay. All right. You're always welcome back, man. I got to move it on. Appreciate the conversation. Take care. All right, looking at the comments here, there is nothing dangerous than a white liberal, Malcolm X. Tony Smith, I hear that all the time. Tony Smith rants like the name. You're right. Malcolm X did say that. However, when Malcolm X criticized white liberals, you think he really cared about the party? Do you think Malcolm X could have been seen out playing volleyball with white conservatives? Hanging out and having drinks and sipping wine with white Republicans. Malcolm X didn't like white people at all. So if you want to throw in that he spoke negatively about white liberals as if he was down for white conservatives, I suggest you open up a history book. Malcolm X did not like white people, but you got him on record saying liberal, so I guess that makes you happy. Go for that. All right, going back to the box. Somebody said he had reasons. Yeah. Laugh my ass off. Biden was never about unity. Stealth Wolf 78, you know, he was voted in to be a unifying president. But at the end of the day, it is absolutely looking like, based on his current rhetoric, that he is not in favor of unity. So I can't necessarily disagree with you right now, but what he is saying is indeed resonating with his party. Very similar when Trump was throwing all that stuff out, and you guys are like, well, he tells it like it is. So, as Biden would say, you know.
You're on the side of a mob, to the side of the police. You can't be pro-law enforcement and pro-insurrection. You can't be a party of law and order and call the people who attacked the police on January 6th patriots. You can't do it.
Anthony Hawkins. We'll bring Anthony Hawkins up to the box. Or better yet, I guess it didn't go through. We'll go straight to Miss friend of the program. We go back like cornflakes and milk. Miss Goddess, good afternoon.
Hey, Mr. Handsome. Long time no see. You know.
Good to have you back. Did you hear that Biden? Did you hear that clip I just played from Biden?
I love it so much. That's going to be the voice forever. That voice going to be heard forever.
So Biden's poll numbers are actually improving. Do you think stuff like that might have something to do with it? Has Biden suddenly gained a backbone?
Yeah, he's starting to get more appreciated. Let's put it like that. He is.
Okay. I don't know if you've seen the young black girl had a song out with Obama, because I got a crush on Obama. Are we gonna start seeing women with Biden across their boobs? You know, asking Biden, is Biden starting to look sexy? That's the question I'm asking.
Hell to the no, no, no. You ain't gonna see that. Come on now.
I
How
had
old is
to.
he? How old is he?
Okay.
Picture that.
I
Picture
had to
that.
ask though. What about if Biden steps up and defends women's rights? You don't see him looking like Billy D a little bit after that?
No.
Hey, all right.
They'll like him more though. They will.
You said what?
But he's not no Obama. Put it like that. Obama
Okay,
was
fair enough.
younger, was more youthful. He smelled good. He was sexy. He had a tough walk.
Okay. What about Ella May? Ella May in the comments says Biden looks 100 times better than Trump. What do you
Yeah.
see about that?
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
You think? What about him falling off his bike, falling up aircraft steps? That'll make him look bad?
That's
I know
bull
we
crap.
talking bullshit. I'm just
That's
asking. We
bull crap.
talking bullshit. Okay.
He's like, oh
All
shoot,
right.
let me don't
What
get this.
about, do you see Biden having any potential to run for re-election at the age of 82?
You know what? I'm gonna say this. Biden have waited over a lifetime, and his dream came true. It's never too late to dream. I'm not gonna count him out. No, it's a first time for everything. Eventually, a woman is going to be president of the United States. Eventually, it's a first time for everything.
I agree.
Eventually, now look, if it boils down to him or DeSantis, Biden all day. Hell no, we can't have no. I don't like anything about
Interesting.
DeSantis. None of his
Well,
policies, nothing.
DeSantis is well. Like, here's one I think that's funny, because you hear a lot of the criticism towards Trump, whether it's Clinton saying deplorables, you got Biden saying ultra MAGA. The Trump side, my MAGA crowd, has done a good job in turning those slogans into terms of endearment, kind of like we did the N-word, if you really look at it. Cassie in the comments, Cassie says, I love Brandon. Brandon gets the job done. Is it possible that the liberals could turn "Let's go Brandon" into a term of endearment that would favor President Biden? Because you hear him being called Brandon everywhere. I'm assuming you know what Brandon means, right?
I see it all the time, but I'm just so anti this new Republican Party. Honestly, I don't know. But it sounds like.
Well, let me say this: it's not the new Republican Party. MAGA and the Republicans are two separate entities. Although they want similar visions for America, MAGA and the Republicans are not the same. I would submit to you, folks like Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney, for the most part, wants the same vision for America. She just doesn't support Trump. And you cannot be part of MAGA if you're not a fan of Trump.
That's what I mean by the new. I didn't.
Right.
I didn't. That MAGA party is the new party. The Cheney, the old Republicans, yes. Okay. I can rock with them. I can, vote for Republican. But the MAGA party Republicans, no. I don't like what they stand for. So,
what do you think they stand for? Elaborate on it. What is it that you believe they stand for?
Oh my gosh. Okay, look. I'm gonna say this. Think about this. United, we stand. Divided, we fall. It's just way too much division. It's just the rhetoric.
But wait, let me ask you this. If you do something that's good for the country, or you do something you think is good for the country, there are going to be detractors. So no matter what you do, it's going to be divisive to some degree. But do you believe it is deliberately divisive, that they're intentionally trying to divide the country?
Yep, I do. I'm going to tell you why. My opinion. So red can stay red. Okay, so divide to keep as many people to vote red and stay Republican so they can win, win, win. That MAGA is all about winning, 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 winning. They want to just remain and just eliminate the blue. And like
But wouldn't we want
their
the
beliefs.
same thing? Wait a minute though. Wouldn't we also want that? Wouldn't the liberals just want to win, win, win as well? I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I don't want to
Right.
appear as if we just might be jealous of victory. Wouldn't we also want that?
Okay, so let me elaborate. When I
Sure.
say win, 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 it's because they want to stay in office.
Okay.
And in my opinion, it's like break America down. Like they want to slowly take away the rights. Like democracy would definitely be in peril.
I gotta ask you the same. Wait, I have to ask you the same question I asked my previous caller because you said the same thing. Take away the rights. Give me at least 3 rights you feel like the Republicans or particularly MAGA is trying to take away.
Okay, the first right, they already don't did that. I mean, even you said in Missouri, like a woman's body is an ownership.
I get that one. Oh, give me another one.
It's government. Okay, the CRT.
That's not a right.
Well, it's not a right, but for education wise and purposes, I feel as though it's a right because the children should be educated fairly. I mean, because a lot of our background have been erased, and I feel as though it's important for them to know the truth. So I feel as though that's a right.
Okay, we obviously
education.
Okay, we disagree with CRT. Give me another one.
Let me say, hold up. It's just like the change. The change is like in laws. Like Biden's going to take care of that as far as like the guns and that. To try
guns are a right. You have a right to own a firearm. That's a Second Amendment. That is an actual right. You're saying they're taking away rights. Republicans certainly are not taking away your Second Amendment rights.
I'm trying to think. Just let me just think. Wait a minute.
Okay. All right. I gotta hold you accountable. You know how we do it. I gotta hold you accountable.
Yes.
Make a statement like that.
Coming on here, you get nervous. So sometimes the nerves make the brain kind of.
I don't want you nervous, Miss Goddess.
Nice and comfortable.
Hey, kick your feet up.
Comfortable.
Kick your feet up.
Okay.
But I want to know what rights. I tell you, one of them is right there in the comments, coming over and over again. Just read the comments. Everybody is saying it. It's coming up.
Think, baby. Let me see, baby. Hold on, because I can't think. I'm rusty. I ain't gonna hear in a minute.
Let me give you an example.
Okay. I got 2 of them, and I didn't really look at it. I feel
go ahead.
Biracial, like marriage, is that a right? Is that a right?
No, you have that actually. I mean, it's something we have enjoyed, but honestly, interracial marriage, gay marriage, that actually is a privilege. It's actually not a right. We've just gotten used to it. Same thing with abortion. It's not a right. It's actually a privilege. That's why they were able to take it away.
So is that in the Constitution somewhere?
No, it's not. That's why they're able to take it away.
So you mean to tell me that they could rightfully tell someone and say
they could
you can't marry this person?
Yeah,
I mean, but like it's my body.
Your ability to marry someone that's a different race or a different sex or gender, yeah, they could actually pass that back to the states. That is not a constitutionally protected right. That's why people believe they're after it, because it's not a constitutionally protected right.
But what about voting? What about voting?
There you
They're trying to make it harder to vote.
There you go. Okay, now you're reading. That's what we're talking about. All right. Okay, I have to ask people, because when you say they're taking away rights, I always want to know where your mind is.
I had to think about the voting.
All right, Miss Goddess. Okay, well, I got to move it on. Okay, I always got to read the comments. I got to move it on, though. Appreciate you coming through as usual. Good talk.
I got to come back a little more because you
know. Oh, shit. Well, anyway. Always welcome back. I clipped you a little early there. Looking in the comments, no marriage should be in government. You should have a right to marry who you want. I don't understand why anybody in what we're referring to as a post-racial society should have an issue with you being able to marry somebody that's a different race or different gender. We're not talking about marrying your German Shepherd, goddammit. We're talking about being able to marry another human being. There should be no blocks against that in a country that's claiming it's the most free on earth. That goes against that very nature right there. Keep in mind, whether it's interracial marriage, same-sex marriage, or any of that shit, that stuff has been legal in other countries, particularly in Western Europe, for decades, for generations. I mean, you had soldiers in World War I, ended in 1918, if I'm correct, that were able to marry women they met over in Europe, black guys. So interracial marriage was legal in Western Europe in the early 1900s. We didn't have it legalized here for almost 50 years later. The most free country on earth. You still can't smoke a joint everywhere you go. You still can't go out and pay for a little ass if you want to. Not that I've done it, but I read about it in a book. I hear it's pretty good. But you can't do that. But yet in places like Europe, you can do that. So we claim to be the freest country on earth. And of course, like I mentioned, LGBT rights, same-sex marriage, that didn't happen until President Obama was in office. 2015. You know how long other nations have allowed same-sex people to get married? We're behind the times. So when we go around the country, or the world rather, bragging about how free we are, and listen, I talk to folks internationally. I've lived overseas. You know how many people have ridiculed me and laughed? You Yankees think you guys are really free. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't. You know, look at all the people in prison for smoking joints and shit like that. We're not. We're not. Now, we're a great country. I'm not here to dispel or put down the United States. I think America's a great country. But the idea that we're the freest on earth, that's plain outright bullshit. Listen, folks, I am on lunch break. I do have to go back into the office. I appreciate those who have been holding. Unfortunately, I got to go back and pull myself up by my bootstraps. You know how that works. 7 p.m. Central is when I'm on here. Feel free to follow the channel. You guys have always a pleasure to talk to you guys. As I make it clear, it's not about winning or losing a debate. It's about doing what they're not doing in Washington in this little tiny ass corner of social media. Being able to reach out and talk to the other side, have civil discourse. We don't block, we don't ban, we don't censor. We do not talk down to guests. Catch you guys tonight at 7. Handsome Liberal, I'm out. Appreciate those gifts. Yeehaw!